Live from Firemans Field, welcome to another edition of the Doug Less Report. I'm your host, Norman Jemal, alongside my expert analyst, Dr. Charles Abady. Chucky, thank you for joining us today.
Norman, thanks for the invite, although under really tough circumstances. I'd just like to preface this evening's show with extending the condolences, I'm sure, on behalf of yourself, myself, and the entire league, to Bobby, to his brothers, to his sister Sally, the entire family, to Mrs. Moravia, Laura, you know I love you, and we wish you only good things in the future to come.
Very nice, only good things. Bobby, we miss you. Very, very different doing a show without Bobby. Usually this seat is the rotating one. If I'm not here, it's Douglas or Saban or you or Sammy Towell, but Bobby has always been the constant over here. So very, very different without Bobby, but I'm sure he'll be back as soon as he can. Now to the diamond, Chucky.
Okay.
First of all, we're here at Firemans Field in the playground area where, you know, if you attended the World Series last year or any other game that's played over here, thousands of children are invited to use the swings and the slides as a game is going on just a few feet behind us. I think this is going to be the site of the World Series this year as well, so it's good to get the feeling going by being on site, on location.
Tremendous venue, tremendous venue. You can see in the background we've got some AA leaguers, maybe future, if they can come up with a 350. Perhaps they could join the YMSL. It doesn't look so good based on the cars in the parking lot.
Exactly. Very astute scouting report from Chucky. Now, Chucky, I'm happy you're here because I really want to begin this show with your amazing, amazing games this past week. Your team came in with their heads down, or so it seemed from the public. You missed the previous week. You were in Israel doing another scouting mission. And your team the previous week somehow got swept by the Old Men of Summer, and then had the daunting task of the Colorado Rockies coming into town for this week. And amazingly, you guys got away with the sweep. So I know we're very, very excited to hear how the Untouchables came back to life over here.
Well, I think at the end of the season, if the Untouchables, you know, go where I hope they go, you're going to look back on the first game of this doubleheader, and particularly the 7th inning, which I'll go into in just a second. But that is a turning point that really flipped our season. Like you said, we came into the games at 4-8. The Rockies were 10-2, coming off a sweep of Helter Skelter.
No. Rockies coming off a split. We played. They swept Helter Skelter the week before.
Okay.
Then they split with the Cleveland Indians.
Okay.
So actually, after your game, currently the Rockies have now lost 3 out of the last 4 games.
Okay. But at our game, they had a 2-game lead over Helter Skelter.
They did, yes.
Skelter with 4 losses and the Rockies with 2.
Correct.
And they came in with, you know, a typical, if I can be so bold, as a Sammy Towell attitude.
Okay.
You know, let's play some Rockies baseball, whatever the heck that means. You know, coming from the professional hitter that Sammy is.
Right.
And they were looking to just kill us, just go right over us. Game 1, that's the game. Leo Caston steps up and pitches a shutout ball for 6 innings. We scratch out a run on a sac fly by Jaime Shama. Mm-hmm. And we go into the 7th, top of the 7th with a 1-0 lead, and Leo proceeds to walk the first 2 batters, which is like, here we go again.
Yeah.
You know, it's 5 and 6 in the lineup, I believe, that he walks, and Jody LeBeau is up, and it's just going to be, and Jody, of course, professional hitter. It's going to be a disaster, and the tables turn in about a bat of an eyelash over there, a line drive back to the mound. Ralph Hannon on first, gets caught off of first, double play, and you figure that's it.
Right.
Jackie Towell, past MVP, on second, and these I think are both pinch runners, by the way, decides to go to third. The throw goes to third. Chucky Abady's playing third. I think Jackie was out twice. I think he got him out on the slide into third, and then he overslid the bag. Jack proceeded to apply another strong tag, pushing him into the dugout, and we couldn't believe we had a walk-off triple play.
I never heard of a play like that to end the game. A few things. First of all, where's JT going? Was it a tag up from second base to third?
Now, I don't even know if he properly tagged or he was also off the bag and just kept going to third. So we didn't even bother with that.
We didn't have
to go there. When we were going there, I don't believe he was standing on second when the throw went to first, because he would have been off with the primary lead, secondary lead, and then, you know.
Right.
So he probably could have been out on 3 different counts. And I got to say, you know, the veteran that I am, one of the weaknesses of this league, you cannot believe the base running in this league at some times. Guys trying to go, I mean, they're just anticipating errors, which don't really take place.
Right.
You know, I thought the guy was going to throw it away. I thought Corman couldn't catch it. I thought Chucky was, not looking. Jack Abady had one where he thought I'm going to sneak into home. You know, and they just tag him out. I mean, it's,
right.
It's
obviously, we understand drawing the throw. Very different than actually running and committing yourself and running yourself out of innings and out of games. Like
as the tying run, and you're already in scoring position.
What you gain absolutely nothing. There's no wild pitch. There's no sac fly. There's 2 outs. What are you gaining going second to third?
I mean, certainly an infield hit, you can make a case, but if you can't get into that bag standing up without a throw,
right,
you're going nowhere. And I give Jackie Bawabe credit. He was filling in for Stephen Batesh.
I was going to ask you who made the throw.
Jackie Bawabe crossed the diamond, got the throw first from Leo Casson, and then proceeded to gun it to third. And we've got professional guys on the infield. I mean, you're running against Jackie Haber, Jaime Shama, Jack Abady, Jackie Bawabe. I mean, this is not
this is real.
Not a
knock to LLJV.
It's not even the girls' league where Eddie Andrews, they probably make that play.
Now, Jack Abady, you had playing third base. Your son, I know he played short center possibly the week before when you weren't there.
Right.
Yeah, of course, he's played center. He's played short. What is the plan with Jack Abady going forward?
Well, for the next 2 weeks, we have Jaime Shama going to Israel for a bar mitzvah.
Aha.
So Jack's going to be going back to short. We're going to move Mark Blaha back to third. And then we'll manufacture the infield with Sifu, Jackie Haber, Jackie Bawabe, and Stephen Batesh on the short center, second base, and first base. But Jack has got to both step up defensively. He's been carrying us a lot offensively. But his primary asset at this season is his versatility. He can play any position on the diamond except catcher, which he's not taking from me.
It's amazing because he probably is the best center fielder in the league. He probably, and if not, then he's top 2 or 3. You want to throw in A.B. Cohen, JT, say who you want, but he's up there without an argument as one of the best. But I understand where you guys are coming from, because then where are you going to put Joe Chira?
Right. So Joe Chira is a little bit more limited in where he can play, and Joe Chira wanting to play and Jack wanting to play with Joe. The only way these guys are going to get to play together is somebody gives up a position. So these center fielders, a lot of these young guys that are center fielders, they may never Jackie Towell with Jack Abady, Joe Chira with Jack Abady, maybe A.B. Cohen with Jack Abady, or Joe Chira or A.B. Towell. They're not going to play together unless one of them. And Jack's played short. I mean, he has a history. I don't know if he's so comfortable just yet, but he's going to have to get comfortable quick.
Right. Now, also, Jack is currently in Brazil at the World Cup.
And at the World Cup, correct, as we speak, for his back-to-back World Cups. Having gone to South Africa and to Cape Town. Yeah, he's in the World Cup, and I'm in 7-Eleven, and not in the World Cup.
You're in a gazebo at Firemans Field.
Yeah, he's got 100,000 people on Copacabana Beach, rooting on USA. I think tomorrow he's going to the Chile match at 4 o'clock. So, but he'll be back on Friday in time for the YMSL.
Was he at the game just now, Brazil versus Mexico, the home game?
No, he was not. These are all in different venues. I mean, we kind of think, but they're like 9,000 miles apart, some of these cities, or at least, a 6
almost as far as Memorial 3.
Right. It's like playing in Memorial 3, where nobody's there. But they are a plane ride away. The Americans are doing a heck of a lot of traveling. Their next game is Sunday against Portugal.
Yes.
And then not till the following Thursday against Germany. We'll beat those sons of,
And Klinsmann, the coach, actually is German, right?
And the goal scorer, by the way, his mom is German.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, his mom is
Breaking
German.
news from Chucky Abady over here.
He was actually eligible to play on the German team. His father was in the military stationed in Germany, and he was actually born, I believe, on the Army base, but that's for another...
That's for the next show. After this, we're doing World Cup today with Chucky Abady as the host.
Okay.
Now, your next game looks like a 5-2 score over here. You
Right.
completed the sweep against the Rockies. But clearly, the first time the Rockies have been swept. I mean, they only had 2 losses coming in all year.
So that, more of a routine game. We jumped out 1-0. We padded it to 3. We got to 5. Leo Casson was throwing, at this point, about 14 straight consecutive scoreless innings. They tacked on 1. And wound up with 2. They actually had Jackie Towell on third. We were going to concede that run. Hard ground ball to short. Jaime Shama. You really have to watch Jaime Shama play because he's elite at third. Not only is he batting fourth, timely hitting, team player, but he's making every play at shortstop. He just eyeballs Jackie Towell and he's got him nailed. Throws home. I throw back to Jack, and we get Jackie Towell, trying to hedge off his third. For a potential, closing the gap kind of a run. But Jaime Shama really deserves, I would say right now, probably the MVP of the team along with my son Jack. defensively, offensively, those two guys in the 3-4 slot.
I gotta say, your team is very, very dangerous, in my opinion. And I know not everyone in the league agrees with it because they look at the record, 6-8, nothing that great.
Right.
But I played you. You guys were shorthanded with 9 guys, and we needed, basically 20 innings between the 2 games to get a split. Between Jack and Jaime, and you're shorthanded every single week. Right. Joe Chira missed time.
Right, a couple of weeks, and
Jaime's missing time. I think if you guys get in, you're very, very hard out. But I guess we will see what happens with the Untouchables.
I mean, just as a note, we've swept both the Rockies and the Astros. Now, we swept the Astros early on, and they've been a team that's been 9-3 since. But we've also lost like a sweep to the Boys of Summer, so I can't even explain the team part of the time. I've got to put a curfew on some of our young guys. I can't have AB Dweck come in every game with a hood on when it's 87 degrees out.
Terrible.
He's got to not come straight from his Saturday night to the field.
But you, of course, your guys are going to show up like that because you're famous for playing Martyr when he was inebriated. So they know they could do that, and they're going to get the playing time anyway. So that maybe you need a firmer stance as grand captain of the team.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just cutting too much slack, a little bit too lax. But you can be sure that come the playoff time, that's not going to happen. I'll play, Adam will play right field, and he's done a credible job.
By the way, Adam played right against us. He was very, very credible, like you said. How is AB Dweck doing it right? Because he's a little shaky sometimes in the outfield.
Oh, yeah. AB's an adventure on every play. He makes 9 out of 10 of them. I would say that. But as a catcher, with the perspective that you have of right field, he's like a heart attack on everything. I mean, he's coming in, he's not going out. He's going out, he's not coming in. I'm still reeling from last year's walk-off home run in left field. So I have confidence in AB, but at 26, 27 years of age, these are no longer, quote-unquote, the young guns of the league. These are not the Ashkenazis of the league, in that, whatever they are, Legion of Boom. These are guys that have to, this is who they are. So they really have to step up, and we've got enough guys if they step up. If DK steps up, if AB Dweck steps up, Jackie Haber's already moved up to the number 2 slot in the lineup. He's hitting the ball, making every play. Bawab is hitting the ball, needs more playing time. I think we could be a dangerous team. And Leo has not pitched poorly at all. He's been solid the whole year.
I think with Leo's the same thing. When he doesn't walk people, he's solid. He's not an easy guy to hit, but he puts too many men on base, too many free passes.
Right.
Oh, and that's the same thing with him every year. This could be a big year for Leo if he, from this point on and into the playoffs, can really clamp down on the walks. I also saw you mixed up your lineup, like you mentioned, Jackie Haber to the 2-hole. Right. I saw you move DK down a little bit.
Right.
And Jackie Bawabe, for a few years in a row, never gets enough playing time. Always rocks the ball when he gets a chance.
Right.
I think you guys are dangerous. I really do.
I'll just mention Jackie Bawabe, the most solid, team player. I mean, he doesn't leap about anything, playing time or not. He's capable of playing a solid short center, a solid first base, and batting in the heart of the lineup. He really rocks the ball. I'd like to take a kind of a segue into Maya Safdie's type of pitching.
Sure.
Which, if Leo's got better stuff. If he could just be content with the stuff he's got and not try to close him out, so to speak, with the 0-2 fastball. Just throw the strikes and pound the zone. He's got enough stuff to be an elite pitcher in the league. And Maya gets the job done with very little fanfare. 5-pitch inning, 7-pitch inning, 9-pitch inning, and everybody's shaking their head walking back to the dugout.
Well, perfect segue, because let's go over to the Helter Skelter versus Cardinals matchup. Helter Skelter, in 2 games this week, once again gave up a total of 4 runs. They've given up under 3 runs a game, and this is deep into the season. We're 14 games into the season, and you're talking about giving up under 3 runs a game in softball is just utterly ridiculous. And I don't know how they're doing it, to tell you the truth. I mean, they have a very good D, but nothing that's gonna blow. It doesn't blow me away, to tell you the truth. But there must be something going on here at Helter Skelter, because they don't give up any runs and they score as much as anybody.
Okay, so I'll give you just a stat that popped out at me.
Sure.
Generally times stats can be, misleading. Team scores 14 in one game, etc.
Right.
But the run differential for Helter Skelter is plus 39.
Off the charts.
Okay, they've scored 79 runs, which leads the league. And they've only allowed 40 runs in 14 games, which also leads the league.
It's amazing.
The next closest team, which is the Rockies, is a plus 16. Now this team, like I say, is plus 39. So they are not winning, although they won this week a 3-2 game, they're winning 9-2, 3-2. You know, outscoring the opponent 12-4. And you don't do that with mirrors after 14 games. I mean,
no.
They played 7 different teams, and the run differential, like I say, is almost 40 runs.
It's really amazing, and I don't know how they're doing it, to tell you the truth, but they are. Max Sutton is playing an unbelievable shortstop.
Yeah.
Hank is supposed to be their shortstop, and Hank is playing second base. Max stepped into third, no problem. Their outfield, they have Gamal in left. He's having a phenomenal year with the bat.
Right.
And he's fielding well in left field. And then they have Eli Harari in center, and they have this young guy, Elliott Saka, in right. I guess they're just making every single play. And, you know, Meyer gets it done once again, never walks anybody.
Now, the Henry injury early in the year kind of flipped people into, you know, maybe a positive, where Henry would normally be at short, and he's an elite shortstop. Hurt his shoulder, you know, maybe was guarding against the big throw from shortstop, moved to second.
Right.
Max stepped into second without almost meeting
a
beat. And Albert Gamal, you know, they like to say, you know, he could be not making every play in the field. If you ask me, you know, he's a solid, more than a solid hitter. He's a elite hitter and a near elite left fielder, and he's serious about it. So, and then the Harari kid in center field hit some rockets off of us. I mean, he can hit the long ball at any time.
He's very streaky, Harari. You get him on the right week, he's going to kill you alone.
Right. But now they are the team. I think they are the team right now.
I'm starting to agree with that also. Now, they were involved in a very, very close game with the Cardinals. The Cardinals, since week 1, when they played the Indians and they split, since week 1, they've gotten swept, then they swept. Then they got swept, then they swept.
Wow.
Alternating, back and forth, back and forth. So now they entered the week 5-7, right? That's 12 games, 5-7. So I was thinking, all right, it's time for them to sweep, get back to 7-7, because that's what they've been doing. They had a lead late in the game. Douglas DeWeck somehow tied the game. I guess miracles do happen. And they tied the game at 2-2. And then in the top of the 7th, David Rishti, one of the most clutch hitters that I've seen. I played with him a couple of times now. You know, he's never going to go 6 for 6, 7 for 7. Maybe he'll go 2 for 4 in a game, or 1 for 3, or whatever it is. But he always gets the big hit. It's amazing. It's amazing. And just so you know, for your team, and my team already knows this, when you have a chance to face him for the game, you do not want that chance. He's always comes through.
You have a pen? You have a pen?
Write that down.
Write that down. No, I'm going to write. No, again, it's timely hitting is the name of the game. I mean, you being a Met fan.
Yes.
Let's bring that up for a second. You know, timely hitting. So I don't care if David Wright gets that hit in the 8th inning the other night. But, you know, 2nd and 3rd, no outs, he's striking out. You know, first, timely hitting. RBIs is the name of the game. I don't care if you hit 240 or 270. You got to look at those runs batted in to see what a guy's really all about. Especially
late in the game, top of the 7th, 2 outs, a man on second, boom, base hit.
Wow.
They take a 3-2 lead. Wow. But the game does not end there. Bottom of the 7th, 2 outs, nobody on. Number 2 hitter Erwin Cohen steps to the plate for the Cardinals. He hits a bomb into the right center gap, splits the outfielders Eli Harari and Elliott Saka.
Okay.
Eli Harari chases down the ball. Erwin, you know, is pretty fast.
Okay.
Rounding second, he's going, you know, his eyes are lighting up. Eli gets the ball, throws it to second baseman Hank.
Okay.
Now, if he's playing short, maybe a different second baseman is there. I don't know.
Wow.
Hank gets the ball, immediate relay, throws a strike to the plate.
Who's catching?
Meyer covered the plate. He's the pitcher. He went and covered the plate, and boom, out at the plate to end the game and give Helter a 3-2 win, and Cardinals a crushing 3-2 loss with Eddie Michon standing on deck. Now, there were 2 outs. They say, you know, no one said like, oh, there's no way he shouldn't have gone or anything like that. There's 2 outs. You know, you have a chance to tie the game. So nobody had a big problem with him going or anything like that. But it seems like he was out by enough of a margin where Michon did not even complain about the out call. So
okay, so 2 things I'll point out, or maybe 3 even. They might have been anticipating Meyer not covering the plate, maybe Harry Franco covering the plate.
Right.
So, you know, that would cause me to maybe want to send the guy. You got to realize the relay man is Hank. You also have to realize that the on-deck hitter is the number 3 hitter on your team.
Right.
So, you know, I like pushing the envelope, but, you know, that's a big turning point for that team, 5-9 versus, you know, potentially tying, chance to go 6-8. What's your feelings on the outfield alignment with 3 outfielders and Irwin up? Do you go 4 outfielders on that point? Or
I don't know. Nobody on base. A 3-2 game. It's the truth is, I guess you should be in as far back,
right.
no doubles, as you can be. Maybe 4 outfielders is the right move.
I mean, he's not Ali Marshall. You know, he's not Ali Marshall. Maybe he's not Albert Gamal either. You know, or maybe a Big Solly. So you don't anticipate him really rocking it, but. Let's compare him to maybe a Jackie Talley. You've got to cover that gap, I think, at some point. It's at least a consideration.
It's a consideration.
Because I know they've been going 4 outfielders on Jack a lot, which kind of plays with your head.
Jack's a different level.
Yeah.
Jackie Towell's even a different level.
Yeah.
Irwin's not there yet. He'll get there. He's still batting number 2. He's not the 3 hitter. You know, he's not elite just yet, even though he's a 2nd-round pick.
But to his credit, that's a big blast.
Oh, that's a big blast.
That's a big blast. So.
And he's fast. He's athletic. You know, he's going to slide if he needs to. Or,
right.
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't say, you know, he was out by a lot or a little. But with 2 outs and the way their season's going, I don't have a huge problem with him going. But like you said, Michon's on deck. Michon was 0 for 3 in the game, which I don't know what that means. It can mean nothing, you know. But.
Michon's as clutch as they come too. Again,
for sure.
You're taking this shot. What's your feelings as a catcher?
Yeah.
You know, both of us here catching with the pitcher covering.
I hate it. First of all,
Leo's not covering the plate. I can tell you right now. I don't know about you, but you know, he's not even backing up third. So what the hell would he wouldn't, you know, he'd be standing at the plate, you know, watching.
Something about Mikey is that I've caught him now 2 years in a row. He's always knows he's a huge baseball fan. He backs up third.
Right.
He cuts off the throw coming home a lot and nails the guy going to second.
Okay.
He knows the game, and obviously there's no way I'm not covering home.
No, he has the confidence. He knows that's not a responsibility. There's no backing up the catcher because the fence is right there.
Right.
You've got to be, like you say, in a position to cut it off, or backing up the third base line, or you know, making yourself available there.
Yeah.
But Harry's young in the league, and Meyer had an instinst, you know, to get to the plate.
But you know what? Harry's more than capable. I've seen him play.
Right.
He's more than capable to catch a ball and take a guy at the plate. I mean, it's not like he can't do that.
No, I'm sure he can. I'm just saying Meyer was alert enough to anticipate that there's going to be a play at home.
Right.
And his instincts probably carried him there, and that's kind of a crushing defeat in the second. You know, you got to live with that for 2 weeks.
I'm happy you brought it up because, as a catcher, I think that could discourage him a little bit. He's sitting there catching. It's hot. 2 games.
Right.
Thought you know what it's like. You're waiting for a play at the plate. I mean, you're waiting for a high pop. You're waiting for something.
Something. Yeah.
Now you got to for the game. You have a chance to make this tag for the game. By the way, when we played each other, we both had a play at the plate.
Right.
If you recall, there was a lot of action.
Right.
And then now the pitcher comes and cuts the ball off. A.B. Saka is famous for that. He always covers the plate. A.B. Saka from the mound on almost everything.
A.B.'s an elite fielder.
Yeah.
But again, if we're playing, you know, incapable of making the play at the plate, you got to let the just food for thought on that one. So
anyway, in game 2,
Skelter.
the Cardinals barely showed up despite taking a 2-0 lead early. They got romped 9-2. Their heads were down. Seemed like a very, very quiet bench after a crushing defeat. And Helter took care of business and won the game 9-2. And because of what happened in your game, they found themselves with a 10-4 record, tied for first with the Colorado Rockies.
But just as a note, the Rockies do have the tiebreaker.
They do. They swept them.
So it's really like a half a game lead. They've got to, you know, get a game lead to get the bye.
You know, they're thinking Rockies have lost 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Rockies still have a matchup against the Astros coming up. So does Helter Skelter. They both play the Astros in the next 2 weeks. So you know, the Astros control their own destiny. They play those 4 games against the 2 teams ahead of them. But also, it's the first time they're playing the elite of the league. Also, so
now not to put you on the spot, but who do the Rockies play in the other game, and who does Helter play in the other
I got you. No problem. Come prepared. This is not Bobby. This is NRJ over here. The Rockies play the Astros and then the Boys of Summer.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, Nathan.
Yes.
Not getting any younger as we speak.
Helter plays Legion of Boom.
Okay, so they're both playing, you know, second division teams.
Yes.
And the Astros.
Wow. And then of course the Astros are playing the 2 top teams. So
now that doesn't bode so well for either the Legion of Boom or the Boys of Summer.
It does not bode well for them.
Because they are scratching to get in and have to play elite teams that have what to play for. In other words, now, you know, you win those games, you get the bye. You know, the bye is priceless.
The buy is priceless, of
It's a
course.
whole round, advantage.
People say you don't get to, you cool off a little bit, but you're only missing 1 week, and you're watching 2 teams get eliminated while you're doing nothing.
Right.
So I'll take that, any day of the week.
Any day of the week. So okay.
Now let's go over to Meadowbrook. The teams you just mentioned: the Legion of Boom from Seattle and the Old Men of Summer.
Okay.
Now these 2 teams, they each needed to sweep because. They each came in with the Boys of Summer were 4-8, the Legion of Boom were 3-9. Coming into the week, they were looking, to make some noise and move up.
Right.
As luck would have it, they split. It helped the rest of the league.
Right. They stayed down, so to speak, for myself in the 6 and 7 slot.
Exactly.
So nobody really made any movement there, and we swept, so we put a little daylight.
Now, the Old Men of Summer, they got out to a quick start. I saw Nathan Towell, David Harari, and Norwood, who we have to discuss in a moment. We will get there. Relax, viewers. We will get there. Those 3 guys batting 5, 6, and 7 in the lineup. They went 6 for 9 in game 1, 5 RBIs, en route to a 5-2 victory.
Okay.
Basically, on the other hand, Zach Ashkenazi and Joe Ashkenazi on the Legion of Boom went 6 for 8 in the 1 and 2 hole. But with no RBIs because they're batting 1 and 2. Bottom of the order, did not get on. And, they scored their 2 runs, and the Legion of Boom lost 5-2.
Do you think those guys have to reconsider their position in the lineup?
They have to. They're the 2 stars of that team.
Yeah, you can't just be table setters at that point if the 3, 4, 5 are not getting the job done. You got to put yourself in maybe a 3-4 slot and look at your stats and see who can get on base in the 1-2 hole. Because, like I told you, it's a league of RBIs. It's not a league of batting average.
And every team is different. Just because you batted leadoff your whole life. For instance, last year we put Lee Zakaria in the cleanup spot. He tells us, no, I always batted 2. I'm very comfortable batting 2. I'll bat 500, but I'm batting 2. I told him, no, on this team, besides for Allie, you're our best guy. You're batting 4 because we have nobody else that's going to bat 4.
And you need some protection for Allie. I mean, they're walking him left and right, I'm sure, anyway.
Of course. So, sure enough, he stepped up. Well, this year, Eddie Rishti, always batting leadoff. We have him in the 3 hole because our team is not, the best offensive squad in the world. So, like these guys, Joe Eshko or Zach Ashkenazi, they can't be 1 and 2 if they're going to go 6 for 8 and not score.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Now, in game 2, Boys of Summer now thinking sweep, now thinking they just swept the Untouchables, now they won 3 in a row, they're back in this. If they could just win this second game against the Legion of Boom, they'll be back in the thick of it. Amazing development. 1 half inning into the game, Sam Michon of Legion of Boom slides into second base, and Ike Norwood, who has been the topic of controversy ever since he entered the league. First of all, how he entered the league, and what slot round he was in, and all that nonsense. We discussed it, fine. Then every week dropping the infield flies and the fake tags and claiming a guy didn't slide at home. All the nonsense that every week there's a problem with him. Now Sam Michon sliding into second, he gives him a big tag on his head, reportedly. Okay, Sam Michon and him are jawing at each other back and forth. One play later.
Yes.
One play later. Michon's still on second. Zachy Michon coaching third, also barking from third base. So you can set the picture over here.
Big boy, Zachy Michon.
Oh yeah, you don't want to mess with him.
I got to call Ike Levy just to even out the side or something like that. But okay.
Line drive to Norwood.
Yeah.
He catches the ball.
Yeah.
Michon didn't budge. He's standing on second base. According to everybody on both teams, he did not move off second base. Norwood with 2 hands pushes him off the base with a big tag to the chest, and all hell breaks loose. Zachy Michon's on the field. Everyone's screaming.
Third man in? Is that third man in?
Yes, third man in.
Third man in. Zachy Michon can't get on the field, Zach. All due respect. Okay. You don't have to protect Sam either. He's not exactly tiny, but okay.
Umpire looked at Norwood, said, "You're out of here."
You're out of here.
Tossed him out of the game. Norwood stayed on the bench. He goes, no, you can't even stay on the bench. Leave the field. We don't want to see you here.
Yeah.
So, in a huge, huge game, Boys of Summer fighting for their season.
Right.
They lose, a main guy on their team. And, they had to play out of position the rest of the day. Nemi had to move to second. Jacob Jamal had to move to second. Nemi had to move to first. The whole lineup is different. Just a mess.
What's the thought process by Norwood on that play, by the way? I mean, what's he thinking?
I don't know what he's thinking.
What is he thinking?
I don't think he's thinking, and I think his whole goal, in my opinion, is to try to trick the umpires and not play the game the right way. And basically, maybe the umpire's not looking that he's pushing him off the base, and then he's tagging him. You know, the regular. There's a lot of BS.
Not the regular, but that's he's a veteran. He's been around. You're filling in. I don't know if that comes into play. He had an episode 2 weeks prior with an accidental, but Hatzalah was called on a play at second base. He seems to be a little bit rough. I don't know if I'm going with the etrogim this year, to be honest with you.
No, listen, and
I buy like 8 etrogim.
Right,
I want you to know.
right. Do you buy the 36?
I buy the 18 non-kosher for my grandchildren. This is of course
You're buying a
confidential.
lemon, it sounds like.
I'm buying a lemon and a palm tree. But then I buy, the ultra expensive $52 ones for the.
Norwood had an issue with us. We were playing on Memorial Day at Logan. Beautiful field over there. Ton of fans and everything. Great day, gorgeous morning. Murray Zolta scores from third base. I forgot if it was a hit or a tag up. He jogs home, he scores. Throw comes in like 5 seconds later. Murray Zolta's already sitting in the dugout on the bench. Play is over. Norwood Now the pitcher's on the mound, they're out the pitch. No, timeout. He runs, goes to the umpire, he goes, wait, that guy didn't slide at home. He's trying to con the umpire into calling him out for not sliding at home, but there was no play. He's just constantly trying to, trick the umpire instead of just playing the game the right way.
No, this is an approach, that for years, the last number of years, we're trying to eradicate from the league.
Mm-hmm.
Where every play, someone yells off the bag, left early, watch him at second. I mean, it's just so disruptive and so Bush-like. You don't see that in legit leagues. But I do want to bring up the point. So what's going on with the suspension, if you will?
Well, I was going to ask you that question. Committee member, Norwood is suspended.
Yeah.
I got the firm response from the league office on that. He definitely is suspended.
Right.
Ike Mavora is none too happy about that.
Well, what's Ike's take? That he shouldn't? Why should he not? If everybody that's been tossed from a game, for example, on our team, DK for not sliding on a, questionable kind of, he didn't know the rule or he slid late, but he also, faced a suspension. What's Ike's leg to stand on?
Ike's take is that the website says that it's not automatic suspension when someone gets tossed, and that it has to be a flagrant offense.
Yeah.
And he feels this is not a flagrant offense.
Okay.
And I know he was talking to Bobby.
Right.
Earlier in the week, obviously, and then Douglas took over the case.
Right.
And Douglas said that he Googled the word flagrant, and he felt that this was flagrant.
Okay.
And
they can't mess with the Google.
And Ike felt that even if you ask the members of Legion of Boom, like Sam Mishon, that they would not feel it was flagrant. But
look, I'll go back to the analogous type of play with DK, which was no intent. Nathan Zolta, Jack Zolta rather.
Yeah.
Admittingly no intent, no harm, no this, no that, and with no history. Norwood's got a little bit of a history going on in the last number, but intent or not, we don't want the commissioners to be in a position where they have to go to the replay several different times.
Mm-hmm.
You get ejected, you get a suspension.
Right. I mean,
that's basically the way the rules should read. Flagrant or not, in order for you to get ejected from the game, the umpire must feel there's something, gone wrong, something remiss, something flagrant, if you will, to toss a guy from the game.
Yeah, well, these umpires take a lot of abuse, and they don't throw somebody out all the time.
Correct.
So if you do get thrown out, I tend to think it's automatically flagrant.
Well, we need to send a message that if you're going to get thrown out, you're not going to sit on the bench and rattle the fence and yell at the pitcher, he's erratic. Okay, he's not so erratic, he's pretty good. So just let it go, take the suspension, and quit the whining. Even veterans like my nephew Ike, we got to quit the whining and the appeal and the play ball. And if you win a few more games, there's a lot less whining going on.
And the previous week, actually, Eddie Michon ejected the umpire. He sent the umpire home. I'm sure you heard about that episode. Yeah. And the umpire actually was leaving. And of all people, the peacemaker, Maurice Haber, had to bring him back.
Wow, there's a Ripley's Believe It or Not kind of scenario.
So,
okay, ejecting the umpire. So the umpire would, if he's ejected, he probably could not come back for the next week.
I think he was back.
He was back. He was back.
You can't write it. I mean, Michon's ejecting and umpire leaves. He's leaving.
Right.
He agrees to the ejection.
He agrees to the ejection. Okay.
Okay. Let's go over to.
That reminds me of The Godfather. You buy me out, I buy you out, and then they shoot.
You do not talk to Mo Green.
Then they shoot him in the eye.
Exactly.
He's taking a massage. But you don't buy me out, I buy you out. Then obviously they bought Mo Green out.
Exactly. Now. And Fredo with the nerve to defend Mo Green in that situation. No good, Fredo.
Can we go for dinner? I mean, instead of going with DT, I mean, The Godfather with Mo Green. I'm like, you, Sally, me, Michelle. We could, we could
The
relate.
truth is, it's on a lot lately, Godfather. I don't know if you noticed. Godfather 1 and 2 have been on a lot lately on HBO.
Okay. I have to look for it. I love it.
Okay. Now, let's talk about your nephew, DT.
DT.
Dano, Lieutenant Dan Towell.
Okay, spectacular at third base. Let's go with it.
And #1 in our hearts also. I mean, no better guy in the world.
No better guy in the world than Daniel. I'm in touch with him all the time. Calling me whether he wins, whether he loses, but playing, the glove is second to none.
Oh my God.
He's making heavy plays.
Sweet. Every single play.
Not only the ones hit at him, but the dive to the left, the dive to the right, and then hitting the ball. At some point, for whatever reason, maybe he was hitting one game, not hitting both games. Took it like a good soldier, but I think he's, proven himself.
Great teammate, gets on base more than anybody. If he's not hitting the ball, he's taking a walk. He leads our team in walks. And like you said, he wasn't batting every game in the beginning. Now he earns himself to bat every game because you'd be crazy not to.
You're related to Daniel, no?
I am.
You're related. So
Yeah.
let's do full disclosure.
Yeah.
And that's his brother-in-law.
Married sisters.
Married sisters. So it doesn't get any better than that. It's like Albert Gamal and Chucky Abady.
There you go.
There you go. But they won't be talking nice about each other. There's a little bit of a
little give and take.
But they're both great players, and as are DT and Norman.
Anyway, Nationals of Abisaka, the Hebrew Nats.
Okay.
Facing the Indians over here right behind us at Firemans West.
Okay.
Abisaka versus Mikey Shalom, both with Abisaka with 2 rings.
Wow.
Mikey with 1 as a pitcher, 1 as a DH in his earlier years.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've been following the Indians. I'm sure you have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you'd be crazy not to be. But we play around.
By the way, you heard the Mets are moving to Montreal.
I saw something about that.
Yeah, they're knocking down Citi Field, moving to Montreal, and the Wilpons are going to move the team to Brooklyn, some other team. But that's...
Speaking of Montreal, this game marked the return of Moni Abadi to see all his former teammates. He kept wanting to slap us 5 during the game. Enough, Moni. We saw you. We gave you the hug in the beginning. You're on the Hebrew Nationals. The rest of us are on the Cleveland Indians, and let's all move on.
So it's not LeBron James and all these guys hugging it out. You don't go for the hugging it out.
Come on. We're out. We're competing over here.
We're competing, exactly. I don't go for the hugging it out. Okay.
Anyway, Abisaka dominant in game 1. Nobody on the Indians got to second base till the 7th inning.
Wow.
But actually, in the 7th inning, Indians had they finally scored a run to draw within 3-1.
Okay.
2 men on, none other than yours truly at the
Okay.
plate. I hit a little bloop ball, not my best shot by any stretch. Certainly not my worst shot by any stretch either.
You
Unfortunately,
put it in play. Something.
I hit a little bloop ball down the right field line.
Okay.
Ralph Cheer is the tying run on first base. The guy's faster than anybody in the world.
Okay.
By the time the ball lands in no man's land, Ralph is already at third base. There's 2 outs.
Yeah.
So he's the tying run. Of course, the ball landed foul by around a foot and a half, but would have tied the game easily. And
So all that was for like a strike. That whole
long strike, which resulted in a fly ball 1 pitch later. Game over. Crushing. Anyway.
Wow.
Like the Indians, we dust it off, we move on, and we get since we didn't play extra innings in game 1, we know we're playing extra innings in game 2, and that was the case once again. 3-all ball game going into extra innings, and Indians caught a big break in that Abisaka had a flight to China. He had to leave after 7 complete innings.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Huge development. We knew he had a flight, but the game was moving so quickly that it looked like he was going to be able to finish, and he did in fact finish 7 full innings. So,
but were you stepping out of the box?
Nothing.
Adjusting the gloves.
We weren't
first base. No.
There's only so much you can do, and we weren't even doing it. And we thought we could win.
Right.
We're very confident in our D. We're confident in and their innings were going just as quick as ours, believe it or not. And it took 9 innings. And it took my main man, Daniel Towell, to step to the plate.
Called me up, yeah, okay. What do you got? I got a gapper coming up. I smell a gapper.
Beautiful, gorgeous gapper. Ralph Cheer on first base again.
Okay.
Daniel Towell hits a gorgeous gapper in the right center gap. Ralph Chira chugging.
And this is bottom half.
Bottom half of the ninth.
Walk off.
Rounding second, Chira sliding into third. They throw the ball past the third baseman, and Chira is awarded home plate. Amazing. Daniel hit a rocket, by the way.
Okay,
a real line drive.
I'll go back to the fundamentals. Is there any backup at third base?
No.
Now, you know, if Abe Saka is pitching, even if they hit that shot, he's positioned behind third. Who was pitching when Abe left?
They put in Zvi's son, Zach Goldberg.
Zach Goldberg. Okay. And how many outs were there at the time?
2 outs.
So if you're backing up third, you know, it's second and third, 2 outs.
There was 1 out. There was 1 out at the time.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so 1 out. But again, I got to say, you know, there's something to do on a lot of different plays. We had a play on an overthrow at third earlier in the season, which the player got thrown out at third. And believe it or not, DK from left field came into the infield to cover the play and ultimately make the tag.
Love it.
So, I mean, if you're in right field and there's a throw from third to second, you can get yourself in a position there. There's something to do, a.k.a. Derek Jeter on the flip play.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, you got nothing to do with short. You got nothing to do with on the mound. Figure out where the throw is going and make yourself useful.
Huge play in this game is Ralph Chira. Again, he's been catching ever since our game, my collision with Chucky Abady. So he's been catching lately. And base hit in the top of the 7th inning for the Hebrew Nats. Abe Saka from second base. There's 2 outs. Abe Saka rounding third, coming home. A base hit to right field, Joseph Jamal. He charges in, fields it in on 1 bounce, throws a strike to home, bang, bang play out at the plate to keep it at 3-all.
I'll tell you, Joe Jamal also stepped up. We need to spend a minute on Joe and your brother, because both batting, defensively, he's making every play. I had him in Hillel, a little bit of a late bloomer,
definitely.
Real, you know, conscientious ball player, wants nothing but to do well for the team. You could bat him anywhere. He's made himself a home and right, sorry to interrupt, but he's you know, a player in the league.
I'll tell you this, he hasn't won a Gold Glove in right yet, which is ridiculous. He makes every single play, knows where to throw the ball, and you got to credit, you know, Carlos in center. He's always talking, telling everybody where to throw, but he makes every single play, and he, like Daniel, forced himself into the lineup. Joseph forced himself. He's batting leadoff for our team, and he's in the league leaders in batting average. He gets on base every single time. So, very, very pleasant surprise, and very proud of him. I'm sure we both are.
I'm sure we both are. Absolutely.
Moving on, one last matchup to discuss is the Dem Bums, the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah.
Against the Houston Astros, Maurice Haber. And there's a very big development in this game that must be discussed because, you know, the Astros have a phenomenal lineup. Everyone's talking about it all year. They have Mars Shama, they have Saban, Big Salty, Haber, Sonny Shalom, Jackie Eshko.
Wow.
But their main guy that's been carrying this team offensively is David Farka. He's having a phenomenal year, power. I know he beat my team with a 3-run homer in a 3-0 ball game. He's been carrying that team, and he is definitely fighting an injury for the last couple of weeks.
Got a hammy.
He's got a hammy. He's been playing first base. He's been playing. They moved him to right field for a minute, then they moved him to first base.
So is he going to try to tough it out?
Well, it depends who you ask. Because if you ask anybody on the Astros, they say yes, he's on our team. But if you ask anybody in upper management of the league, it seems like Maurice is looking for a replacement. So,
well, they floated, you know, a name by the commission at some point. You know, an elite player, well known to all. You know, probably one of the best players that the league's ever known, in Michael Beta.
Wow.
You know, they wanted to go even up David Farka for Michael Beta.
Wow.
Now, just to put Michael Beta into perspective, when they play in the Red Hook League in Brooklyn, Jackie Towell and Chucky Abady both play on that team.
And Michael's plays where?
And Michael plays center field.
Wow, wow, wow.
So I'll give you, you know, 10% of it is because he's the elder statesman.
Sure.
But there's nobody looking at it and saying, you know, either Jack should be in center field over Michael. So Michael is, you know, an elite of an elite, maybe a little bit calmer player, and it was not received well by the commission.
No, I'm
going to give Beta the nod. I think in the replacement world, it would be nice if they were equal, but if they're not going to be equal, the replacement has to be a notch below, not 2 notches above or a notch above.
100%. I don't think the league would take it nicely if they saw Michael Bader's added to that team.
Yeah, Michael Bader. You know, so we got Michael Bader. You know, he's like top 2-3 picks in the whole league. So,
right.
I think if he can see himself to play through the hammy, maybe with the week off this week, you know, maybe he can tough it out. Maybe move him to first base. He's also a left-handed batter. Yeah. So, you know, he'll get down the line and they'll pinch run if they have to in a big spot.
Right, okay.
Suck it up and play the game.
There you go. So, basically, game 1, Astros took it to Brooklyn, 6-0 game. Brooklyn, for some reason, with Ali Marshall, Jimmy Malak, all these guys, they can't score runs. I mean, you could check on your chart how many runs they've scored this year, but I know it's not much. And I know Ali's been snake bitten this year, but everyone can say that at some point. Right. And, you know, they had 6 singles in game 1. That's it. Not one double. Nobody had 2 hits. Nothing. Just Eshko totally shut them down. Eshko and his defense. And the Astros, you know, got another victory. And Brooklyn got a very, very big loss over there. Speaking of Farka, he did go 3 for 3. He did have 4 RBIs. I believe he had 2 home runs. I didn't hear this, so I just saw this from the Game Changer app, so I have to confirm that. But Brooklyn with 6 hits all game, not good. Right. But in game 2, Brooklyn did rebound. They broke out against Moses because Jackie Eshko had to leave for. I think he had to leave like in the middle of the game or after an inning or 2. I'm not sure.
Was he driving Amy Sackett to the airport?
It's possible. He did return for the extra innings after the game got out of hand. But when do you ever see an extra inning game end with a score of 12-2?
Wow, that was an extra inning game. Look, I haven't seen, you know, in years past, and maybe it's just my take from this season, but there seems to be a lot of games missed.
I don't know why, and
Well, I can tell you. I mean, guys are working, guys are traveling. Whether it's bar mitzvahs, whether it's vacations, whether it's, you know, business. Mm-hmm. There seems to be, you know, you've got to really draft a team that's kind of deep because you got to be able to, no excuses, play when guys are missing. You know, guys get married, you know, honeymoon plans, things like that. We had Jackie Haber. He was out a couple of weeks with a, you know, wrist injury. Then Dochira a couple of weeks, Jaime Sham a couple of weeks, Chucky Abady a week. Myself, I missed 3 games. I mean, it's up and down the league. It's a epidemic of sorts. But the good teams, you know, get some versatility.
It's an excellent point because you really have to draft to cover for these guys that are leaving. You're absolutely right. And instead of some people at the draft saying, oh, let me get this guy, he doesn't complain about not batting, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that. Right. You really have to draft a team that's going to step up for you because you're not getting 12 guys to the field every week, that's for sure.
No, we on the Untouchables have, you know, 10, 11, and 12, maybe myself and Jackie Bawabe, I don't know how, Adam Marshall. I mean, these are guys that can, you know, fill in the multiple positions, and you're not shaking when they're batting. They know the game, and I think the league is deep enough that you have to really, you know, go 12 deep on your team.
Now, at one point in this game, it was 2-all in extra innings. I don't know if it was bottom 7 or bottom 8, and David Farka, again, is up with 2 men on. They intentionally walked him to get to Big Solly.
To load the bases.
And
who's pitching on this?
On Brooklyn, you have, was it Jeff Sacco or Steve Azer? It was Azer this week.
Either way, professional. Okay.
Right. And Marty, the G, went to Azer and said, listen, if you walk this guy, obviously you can't walk the next guy. Game's over.
Marty's brilliant, I'll tell you. Does Marty not get it or what? But,
So Azer goes, don't worry, I won't walk the next guy. But it was a 3-2 count. And Big Solly ended up flying out to end that threat. And then Brooklyn scored 10 runs in the top of the next frame. Elliot Batesh with a huge hit to break it open. And the rest is history. Brooklyn did salvage a win.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around, you know, loading the bases. I know Fark is on fire, but Big Solly, you know, a million things can happen with a hitter of Solly's capability. I mean, an error at that point, you lose. A walk, you lose. A balk, you know.
A balk, yes.
Balk, you know, hit bat at any one of those things also. But to Azer's credit, you know, I don't know if I would do it with Leo. To be honest with you, I don't think there's a lot of pitches that you can just slide in there and say automatic, you you know, they'll work the count, I'm throwing strikes.
Right, true.
But Azer is, you know, quintessential professional. If he wants to throw strikes, he throws strikes. Okay, fabulous.
Now, just to note, Azer will be pitching for that team the next 2 weeks. Jeffrey Saka now is also going away.
Yes.
So, you know, like perfect analysis just after we were just mentioning how all these guys are missing weeks. So,
I want to take you. I want to get your take though on that 1-1A situation with the guys like Jeffrey and Azer pitching.
yeah.
What's your feelings on that? I mean, what if we have, you know, if it's not a pitching situation? I mean, pitching we're a little bit desperate. What if 2 players are going to do that, you know, down the road? I mean, you know, I have a little issue with it because there's something to be said to playing the full 18th games. I mean, I played against Jeffrey, you played against Azer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's happening come playoff time?
I don't know. You're right. Now,
I mean, do they get that luxury in playoff time as well?
I'm not sure what the rule is at playoff time. I'm really not. And I got to tell you the truth. When I heard about it in the beginning of the year, I didn't love it. But as far as replacements go, I do think they're equal.
Right.
It was mentioned before the draft, so
Right.
there's no anyone
Right.
could have drafted him.
Right.
And you know you're getting the package. Neither of them hit. They're both excellent pitchers.
Right.
It's sort of pretty much equal, and Bobby was very, very strict with saying that you could only pitch 12 games, Jeffrey, and that's your max. You know, and there was no 2 ways about it. But I don't know if it's going to lead to other position players doing that, then it's going to have to stop.
Right.
You know,
Right. That's not going to be accepted. Okay.
it's unique that it's a pitcher,
And it's
because-
unique that they're not hitting also.
right.
Okay.
It's a tough call, to tell you the truth.
No, you know, these are guys that you want to have in the league. I mean, Jeffrey is a, you know, icon in the league.
Yeah.
Been around a long time, so you're going to make a couple of concessions there, like they do for me, let's say, with slotting me, having the graciousness to slot me at that point.
Right.
So Jeffrey's earned the respect, and I don't think there's an inherent advantage one way or the other. They're both solid, you know.
I wonder what they
pitchers.
think. I wonder what the Dodgers think, like the guys on that team, if they prefer having Jeffrey or Azer on the mound. You know? I don't know.
Okay, we can run that up a poll. You know, do it on the
an anonymous poll.
You know,
For Brooklyn
Carton
Dodgers.
and Boomer in the morning. You know, they have that thing call in and see. What the
Azer's
players-
also a very calm guy, and you know, guy makes an error, he's not going to do anything. Not that Jeffrey isn't, but Jeffrey, you know, gets a little animated. So
I played with Azer, won the World Series with him in '09. We had like a 5 or 7-1 lead. I can't remember in Game 4, which we lost,
I remember.
and went to Game 5 against Ali. I mean, that's El Foldo, wrap it up, send me home, we stink.
Shut him
and
out.
Shut him out.
Yeah, I remember that
So
day.
Azar's been through the wars. You know, if I had to pick one, you know, to win a game, I think of any pitcher in the league. This is no knock on Jeffrey, but I can't see he could do much better. You know, Ike Deed obviously is not in the league,
Right.
and I'm not going back to Charlie Saka and
Red.
Chubby Cassab.
Right.
Red, of course, Red. But in today's era, you know, you can't do better than.
Were you guys up
Azer.
2-0 in that series?
I don't believe so.
No?
No,
I remember that game when you blew the big lead, and then you
Yeah.
came right back and won the game. You shut him out. I remember it
Yeah.
perfectly. It was,
They also had somebody that left, had a good reason to leave. They put a new left fielder, Jaime Shama, hit a 3-run homer. We jumped out early, but Azer, you know, he after just came into the huddle and said, you know, they're not scoring this game, so let's go.
Okay, so this past week, with all the action that we just recapped, the 2 main developments all came from your game, because you guys are entering the week on the outside,
Looking in.
looking in, and you ended the week on the inside, looking out.
Right.
And, you know, looking to move up even further. And the Rockies, who had the inside track for the bye, they had a 2-game lead and the tiebreaker over Helter Skelter. Suddenly, it's tied with Helter Skelter atop the standings.
Right.
Like you said, it's a half game lead, but if you have the Astros now enter the picture, 3-way tie, then everything gets blown up.
Right.
And so those are the 2 main developments, and let's look to the week ahead.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay, let's start with a very, very good matchup. The Rockies at 10-4.
And the Astros.
You just swept them.
Right.
And the Astros at 9-5.
Okay, so like I said earlier, the Astros lost their opening 2 games. They've been 9-3 since. You can make the case that the Rockies have dropped 3 out of their last 4.
Yes.
I don't know if they have a letdown after they swept Helter Skelter,
Right.
but you know, they're a team searching on the comeback trail. Obviously, it's a great matchup. 10-4, 9-5. You know, we're picking a split. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to pick the split. I mean, it's really a split. Then it'll depend on what Helter Skelter does. But I think the Rockies would be content with a split. I think the Astros, obviously, if they want to control their own destiny, they got to take it to them.
I think it's going to be a split also, like you said. I hope you don't pick splits the rest of the way because that'll kill our viewership over here. That's not what we're looking for. But in this particular case, I agree with you. I don't think either team is getting swept. I don't think either team. Rockies just got swept. I can't see them losing now. It would be 5-6. I doubt they're going to go into a complete tailspin. And the Astros always find a way to get it done. By the way, the Astros, like we mentioned before, had Moses pitching for them this week. I faced Moses this year, but he was on the Old Men of Summer. I don't know how this guy bounces around from team to team without a trade, without a vote, without an approval, but he seems to be on a different team each week. And now he's back with the Astros again, so we'll see where he ends up this week. Okay. Helter Skelter, you just mentioned them. They're 10-4, and they are going to be facing the Legion of Boom, who enters with a 4-10 record.
Wow, on paper it's certainly a mismatch, but you've got a desperate team in the Legion. They know that if they get swept, they could virtually kiss it goodbye.
Right.
And historically in the league, you don't see too many teams being eliminated before that first week.
Very true. In fact, 2 or 3 years in a row, not one team was eliminated before the last week of the season. So, we're talking eligible bachelors, and we're going back to those days for a team that was eliminated before the last week of the season. Legion is 3-3 the last 3 weeks, so they managed to split against some decent teams also. So,
I gotta think though that Helter Skelter is looking at it like the Astros and the Rockies will split. We got to take 2 and then control our own destiny going into the last week, where this tiebreaker kind of thing is haunting them.
Right.
So I'm going to go, I think Helter Skelter has as much on the table as does Legion and Boom. I think they have the plus 39 run differential. I think they've got a solid pitcher and Albert Gamal and company. So I'm going not out on a limb by saying Helter Skelter in a sweep.
Right. I think the key is they don't have the personality that's just going to show up and overlook the other team, even though they're only 4-10. I think they're going to take them seriously and play hard, and I agree with you. I think Helter's going to end the week in first place, as do you, with a 12-4 record. Okay. Onward and upward. Let's leave your game for the end. That's a really good game. Let's go down to the Cardinals, 5-9, 4-game losing streak. Eddie Michon, Max Udid, against another 5-9 team, the Old Men of Summer. Now, these two teams are both 5-9. The teams ahead of them are both 6-8. They both need a sweep. A split does nothing for either of them, really.
A split does nothing, and it kind of puts another nail in the coffin. And they both probably look at themselves as better than 5-9.
Right.
Although, you are what your record says you are.
Sure.
But each one is saying, here's an opportunity to beat a team that's lost 4 in a row. Here's an opportunity to beat these old guys, whatever the case might be. Both looking for sweep. I don't see a sweep.
Me neither. This is crazy.
I don't see a sweep.
I don't think either team is good enough to really sweep at this point.
I think the Boys of Summer, I have to go back to Elias Sports Bureau, but I think the Boys of Summer need to win Game 1. I just don't think, age-wise, I'd like to look at how many Game 2s they've won this year. I think it's a lot to ask of these guys as the weather gets warmer. Nathan, Jackie Haddad, go on down the list. I don't know if the team that loses that first game, I think the team that loses the first game will get swept.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so now you're going to Norwood is suspended Game 1.
Yeah.
So that may come into effect.
That's Boys of Summer. So if they can't make up for the Norwood's absence in Game 1 and they lose Game 1, now they're 5-10, backs against the wall, tougher on the second game, a little bit long in the tooth as far as the makeup of the squad. I see whoever loses Game 1 getting swept.
Let me ask you, what is your take in general on this, probably the story of the year in this league this year, is that Ike Mabora is not pitching for this team. He was drafted in the first round as a pitcher.
Shocking, is all I could say. Shocking. I mean, I could see, maybe giving him a week off, 2 games off, but they're making it up with what? Salim Levy and
Nemi.
The Khazan, the Nemi Cats. At some point you got to say we're either going to live and die with Ike Mavolo, because I don't think either of the other 2 pitchers are taking you. They may get you into a playoff, but they're not going to take you through the playoffs. Where Ike, with as much as he has to prove in this league, I can't believe he's not pitching.
I can't believe it either. I've spoken to him. He may have an injury with his back or whatever it is, but his team is up against the wall. And
I mean, this was a captain that traded down in the draft and let Ali Marshall go. You know,
Crazy.
This is Met-esque.
No, this is worse than Met-esque because
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, in this league, everyone's fighting for that first pick. And not only did he let it go, but he let it go to not the best offer that was on the table. Well documented. That, you know, I put a lot of chips on the table to get Ali back this year. And I saw what he traded that pick for, and it was a lot less than I was offering. And it ended up working out a lot better for me because Eddie Rishti was around at the ninth pick, which I never expected.
Right.
So, you know, it worked out just fine for us, but not so fine for these guys because A, he traded the pick, B, he didn't get what he could have gotten for it, and then he took Mavora, who's not even pitching for him. His second round pick, he went with Sam Michon, who's no longer on his team. He traded him because that was another inebriated disaster.
Oh, was it?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And, you know, it's just a very, very strange season for Nathan and that team.
I think you got to look long and hard at the general manager or the captain in this case. I mean, I love Nathan, but, you know, I think if he had to do it over again, I can't see him going down the same route. And if you're going to stay, you know, make that pick and take Ike, which, you know, is not unrealistic.
Right.
You gotta stay with him on the mound. I mean, eventually he'll come around. I mean, the guy's been pitching for up to a number of years, and
I'm not sure it's Nathan not pitching Ike. I think it's Ike saying that he can't pitch.
Yeah, so maybe that's it. But I guess that was information that Nathan wasn't privy to before the season.
Right.
Maybe it developed during the course of the season, and as it turns out, I mean, it's just unfortunate. I also think there were other, you know, judgments in terms of, you know, maybe the anticipation that Jackie had to play center field. You know, I think.
Well, that's his own judgment. I mean,
look, I think as the oldest player in the league, I come from a position where at some point, you know, players have to realize that, you know, they're not 25 and 27. If you look around the league, who's playing center field? You know, it's David Farker, it's Joe Chira, it's Jackie Towell. You can't be, you know, still thinking. I mean, the outfielders as they age are going to have a tougher time readjusting to a position than some of the infielders or some of the guys that might go to a catching or first base position.
You're right, because if you look at the shortstops, they've managed to, even though we got new ones in, Jordy, John Eliezer, whatever, the guys that are getting a little older, like Morris and Eddie Rishti and Hank, if he's not injured, managed to hold their own. But the center fielders at that age, and especially at Jackie Abady's age, I mean, that's just not realistic. And
these guys have about, you know, 5 or 7 years on some of the names you mentioned. I mean, at 50, you know, Hank is much younger, Mo was a little bit younger. You know, you can make, you know, so you lose a step like Jeter, maybe it's short, but at least you make the plays on the balls that are hit to you.
Exactly.
But if you're, you know, if you got left field Nathan and center field Jackie, you know, how many balls are they tracking down compared to, you know, Joe Chira and DK or Joe Chira and A.B. Dweck, you know, that kind of situation. And most of these other teams that Irwin Cohen and A.B. Cohen, I mean, whatever it might be.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy when you compare, when you mention these names, like A.B. Cohen, let's say. It's a crazy comparison. Yeah. And not to say that Mavora is not a good first-round pick if he's the pitcher, but it's not like he traded the second pick or the third pick. He had the first pick.
Yeah.
He had Ali on his team, and, you know, to trade that blue chip, it's just crazy.
At some point, guys sometimes pick, you know, who they really want to play with, as opposed to who they think might give them the very best chance to win.
Right.
And it was an opportunity for Nathan to get together with Ike, they're very close. And you know, I for one, you know, you got a chance to play with Ali. It's Ali, and then, you know, anybody else. So you know, you won the lottery, and you decided to do a scratch off instead.
Interesting. I'm happy we had you here to discuss all this because me and Bobby have been through this a million times, but good to get your perspective. Onward. Let's see. We just did the cards and the old men. So wait, you're saying, are you picking us? I
say I pick a sweep, and I'm going to reserve whoever wins that first game. I mean, obviously, in order to sweep, you have to win the first game.
Right.
But I don't think either team, having lost that first game, if they lose to the old men, the Cardinals, and then Norwood comes back in the second game, then I'm going to stay with the old men to sweep it. And I think whoever loses that first game, being 5-10, will see the handwriting on the wall, fold up 10th, and wind up 5-11.
Wow. Okay. Now let's go to my game, the Cleveland Indians at 7-7 against the Brooklyn Dodgers, the aforementioned Ali Marshall, Marty the G, and Jimmy Malak, and all these guys with Stevie Azer on the bump.
Stevie Azer on the bump. Wow.
Yes.
So I think a daunting task for the Indians.
Definitely a daunting task.
Now I'll make note. I mean, I've been harping, you know, maybe too much on the run differential, but I'll make a note that the Dodgers at 6-8 still have a positive run differential. They're one of the 4 teams that do have that.
Really?
So it means they're in every game. They're +4. I don't want to say they're better than their record indicates, but with Azer on the mound and the Indians showing a difficulty in putting up runs. Last week, 1 in the first game, extra innings to get 4 in the second game. I got to go with the Dodgers in a sweep.
Really, a sweep?
Yeah.
You are aware that the Indians usually split. Usually, like every week except we had 1 sweep and we got swept. So the other 5 weeks we split.
Yeah, but you told me not to go so much with the split.
Yeah,
so.
don't go with the split. Okay.
You're going with the split in this game.
Now, if Brooklyn sweeps, they're going to be up to 8-8.
Right.
They're going to jump the Indians, obviously, who would fall to 7-9, God forbid.
Right.
And then you're right in the mix over there also. We'll get to your game. Wow, that'll really shake up the standings. I'm going to go with the complete opposite of you.
Sweet.
I'm thinking that the Tribe is ready to bring the bats, and I think we're ready to explode this week. I hope so. We'll see. I mean, we're running out of time here, boys. We got to start scoring some runs. I mean, every game is 12 innings, but we will see what happens.
Now, the Indians, at 57 runs, have only 1 team, the Hebrew Nationals, that have scored less than them.
Right.
Now, your defense, obviously, at 51 runs given up, you only held the Skelters tighter on the D. But you're known for these low-scoring games, both scoring little and giving up little. This 3-1 kind of game is somewhat typical.
Yeah.
And you've got your work cut out with Azer. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to break out, I don't see the breakout against Stevie.
I hear you. We're hoping that maybe their defense won't hold up as they hope. That's our hope because Azer's definitely not going to walk guys.
Right. He's
that's
not giving
for
you
sure.
the free pass.
Exactly.
And, okay.
But the Indians' defense is lethal. You mentioned Daniel Towell. Eddie Rishti is having a
that left side is
ridiculous year.
impenetrable.
Oh my God! Then you put Lisa Carey at second base, Robert Braha at first. The outfield is
I'm
ridiculous.
giving you 3 gold gloves. At third, short, and second.
There's more. You got Joseph, my brother, in right field.
Okay.
You got Carlos in center field.
Okay.
And Murray Zolta, never going to be on the headlines, but the guy's made every single play in left field this year.
But we're not going to reach on just from the standpoint of the notoriety.
Yes.
With Zolta, how many guys can say he plays left field?
Right.
In that situation. But certainly in the 3 infield positions, Joe coming up, Carlos, as solid as can be. Very, laid back.
Yeah.
The smoothness, little Chucky Abady kind of speaks in Spanish when he has to.
See?
They have that smoothness. You're not related to him though. It's like
Carlos, he married the cousin.
He married the cousin.
The other Rishti family.
Right, so you're on the take.
Yeah.
You're on the take. Okay, so okay.
I got Bob, I got Carlos, I got Daniel, I got everybody on this team.
It's a family affair.
Okay, so we disagree on that game, and let's see if we agree on this game. The Hebrew Nationals, A.B. Saka, back from China, versus yours truly, the Untouchables. 8-6 Hebrew Nationals versus 6-8 Untouchables. Big game.
Okay, so Jaime Sham is out.
Okay.
We can do no worse than split. I mean, let's go in. We never go into a week saying we're hoping for a split.
Right.
Every team goes in. Unlike the USA soccer team where we don't have a shot. We're going in to sweep them, obviously. Right. But it's a big chore. They're 8-6 with A.B. Saka on the bump. So. I can't predict anything other than a sweep on our part just because,
right.
What the hell? What would I be if I didn't predict a sweep? Based on the lineup of this week, Legion of Boom playing who they're playing, Cleveland Indians playing who they're playing, the bottom of the very competitive second division kind of matchups.
Yeah.
You write me in for a split right now, I probably sign for it.
Wow.
And, we're going to miss Jaime. We're going to plug in Jack. And, you never know. Look what happened to the Rockies last week,
You know what? Your team is so hard to predict because who would have the guts to say that the old men are going to sweep you and then you're going to go and sweep the Rockies?
Correct.
The worst of the league and the best of the league.
Right.
And so who knows what the hell you guys are going to do. But Jaime's a huge part of your team. He killed us when I played you.
Right.
He and Jack basically, took it to us, those 2 guys back to back.
Look, this is an any given Sunday kind of a league.
For sure.
We're going to plug Mark Braha into the maybe the 4 slot. Joe Shearer. A lot of respect for Joe as a captain. You hear it coming, no? Breaking news.
Yeah.
I think Joe needs to really step it up in terms of both his captainship.
Wow.
As well as his first round status.
Well, it's tough to be a captain when you barely show up. You know, he missed 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's 6 games.
Yeah, and I think it was early in the season where the pecking order was kind of dictated.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's tough to get in there with myself being a little vocal behind the plate.
Just a little, yes.
Jack is no wallflower when it comes to his opinions in the infield and whatnot. So maybe Joe was just acquiescing to that. But I think he's got to step it up. He's got to be our leader. He's got to be what he was to the Pirates last year.
Okay.
He's got to come up, set the table. He'll make the plays in center. But, if we need a kick in the butt, he's got to deliver it. He's got to be there for us. And I think we'll go as far as Joe, Jack, and Leo will take us.
Okay, I hear you.
And I did guarantee Jaime that we would make the playoffs. He's out for the next 2 weeks. So I did guarantee it. Put it in the books.
You play the Nationals, then you play the Cardinals. So
yeah.
And your team is really good. I think you'll make the playoffs also. I think you'll split this week, and I think not to look too far ahead, but I think you're going to win 3 out of 4 to win to end up at 9-9, and you'll take that any day of the week.
Right.
That'll definitely get you into the playoffs, and that's what we're all looking for, because as we know, once you're in, it's a new season.
And I gotta say, if we can finish at that 9-9 slot, being 4-8 at one point, you just want to be hot at the right time. So 3 out of 4, sounds good for me. Indians got the tough task ahead of them next week.
Sure.
The league is what the league is. It's really,
There's no easy weeks.
No easy
Every
weeks.
week,
No easy
if
weeks.
it's not A.B. Saka, then it's Ralph Hannon, then it's this guy, then
Yeah.
it's that guy. So
That's that guy.
I guess we'll see how it goes. Chucky, thank you very much for coming
pleasure.
out.
Under
Great
better
job.
circumstances next time, we'll do it with Bobby.
Yes, we'll
We
do
wish you all
the
the best.
3-person panel next time.
And good luck to all the players. And let's quit the whining out there. Let's go.
Interesting.
Let's play some baseball. Let's play some softball, as Jack would say. We're not playing baseball. But that being what it is, let's grow up and show up. Talk to you soon.
Amen. We'll see you next week.